Hey everyone, or should I say, Hallo aus Berlin? Yeah, we're at DevCon and everything is great. We've had a lot of developers come to our booth that are gonna deploy on the network. Everything is super exciting. But today we're here about something else. And first of all, I want to thank our entire community for supporting us for so long. And you guys are truly the backbone of this project. And this is why we've been thinking about doing more events and like for you, the community. And this is one of them because we care about transparency, as we've always said, and we care about you getting to know our team, the people behind the project, our amazing marketing department, community, and of course, our engineers who are masterminds at the blockchain. So yeah, this is what this event is all about. Meet the Oasis team. This is the first episode of what promises will be a series of amazing episodes. And today I have with us our newest team member, but also an amazing human being and an amazing mind. Our new head of marketing and community, Patrick Degenhardt.
Hi guys, super pleased to be here with you today. And yeah, as Mina said, newest member in the team, a couple of months in at this point.
Yeah, so during this event, this is the format of the event is more of an interview than our regular events, where Patrick can share with us his vision, his background, and everything. But I would ask all of you if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them either here on StreamYard or on Discord or on Telegram, like or on any of our social channels. Our team is always present and they'll direct your questions to us and we can answer them during the event. The event will also be recorded, so we'll upload it on YouTube afterwards. And of course, if you haven't checked out our blog article, our interview with Patrick, I definitely recommend you. It's a very interesting article. So just go to oasisprotocol.org/blog and you can find the article there along with other amazing articles we've published lately. Okay, so without further ado, I think we can kick off the event. And I would start off with a basic question, like Patrick, could you please describe to our community the role you are occupying at Oasis and what exactly you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm head of marketing and community at the Oasis Foundation. So just joined, as I mentioned, a couple of months ago. So I'm still learning about the ecosystem, still learning about the community. But so far, I'm extremely impressed by like everything that we're working on at the moment. Like we delivered several products. We have a community that is engaged and interested and very passionate about privacy. So that to me is super exciting. And in terms of the role, I mean, it's the you know traditional marketing plus the Web3 oriented community aspect. So it involves brand strategy. It involves how we'll grow the Oasis brand, how we can support the community, how we can support the ecosystem projects building on top of Oasis, or partnering with Oasis from other ecosystems. That is also extremely important. And essentially, helping people to get to know Oasis, helping people to get to use our technology, and hopefully be engaged more and more with us because throughout this interview and in my written interview I discussed a lot about how we can help other communities and other ecosystems as well. So I think we in blockchain, we need to unite, when we are um, united, we are it's more difficult to break us down. So yeah, but we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, and I agree with everything, Patrick, because what is a good project without a good ecosystem? And of course, we care about all the projects that are building on our platform. And we actually had a lot of people attending our booth who are members of the community, and they're up to date with everything we're doing, and everyone is impressed. Like, we've made a lot of progress this year, and yeah, it's exciting. But you've been in this space for a long time, Patrick. Can I ask you, like, what made you choose Oasis over other layer ones or other blockchain projects?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be all about the mission and the vision of the project, and also the values of the people that are involved in the project, right? So when I was approached by Oasis in terms of joining, I felt like really a deep connection with the mission of Oasis, because it really goes back to Satoshi's vision, right? So back when Bitcoin was created, and we're talking about like so many years ago, like 2008, 2009, like I was during that time, going through the financial crisis. I had a small business back then, a marketing agency, and it wasn't easy. And at that time, Satoshi had this vision of giving power back to people, giving the financial means back to people, to democratize access to finance and to their data, essentially, right? So we're talking about the fundamentals of privacy, the fundamentals of what we do in blockchain. And Oasis enables all of those aspects, right? With this concept of smart privacy or programmable confidentiality. That means that people are in charge of their own data. That's extremely important, especially in a world that is more and more defined by the ownership of data. You see all these AI models out there using billions and billions of terabytes of data in order to generate their products. So we need the technology fundamentals, the primitives to support, a fair use of people's data, and also to enable them to make the best use of, the financial means that they have, especially in developing countries. So, I think Oasis brings all of this together, um, and with a fantastic vision, which is essentially to build a better tomorrow with data ownership and the right of privacy, which is a human right after all. So this passion, I think, really exudes from everybody in the foundation, and so far from what I've seen in the community as well, with the people that are building the ecosystem projects. You talk to founders, you talk to partners, and they all feel like very passionate about that, and they're right, because that goes back right to the foundations of our industry of blockchain. So that's really fundamental stuff, and that's why I'm here, because I believe in that vision. I think we should do our best to deliver.
Exactly. Like, this is the narrative kind of got lost along the way with blockchain. Like, the initial intentions of blockchain kind of got lost along the way, and I think we can definitely
Yeah,
address all of those issues and the issues of Web two. Um, and yeah, speaking of Web two, like, you said, yeah, like, you had your own marketing agency, and you came from Web two. Um, in terms of Web three, like, what aspects caught your attention and made you uh, do the jump to to Web three, to blockchain?
yeah. So yeah, my like professional history goes back to probably like Web 0 of we could say Web 2 for the sake of argument. I think what brought me into Web3 was like definitely this philosophical aspect, right? So I read the white paper for Bitcoin, and I was studying what inspired Satoshi, whoever that is, if it's a person, if it's a group, we don't know. But the inspiration, the philosophy behind the creation of Bitcoin and the creation of our whole new internet, right? That's what drove me to it. I mean, entering blockchain like a few years ago, like I don't know, 6 years ago or something that I joined, or even now, it's like entering the internet, in the 1990s, So it's really early days. We're really building the foundations of a new internet that are more responsible, more democratic way of doing business, essentially, right? Because we are in business, but it's a way that is not exploitative of people. And to me, that's absolutely fundamental. Having worked for many organizations in the past, by being a consultant, working for corporations, working for nonprofit organizations, I wanted to take this mission forward. And I think only with Web3, with all these pioneering aspects of Web3, of creating this new, more inclusive internet that gives power back to people, essentially, that's where I want to be. And I don't see myself working in any other industry. It's impossible to see me working like selling like consumer products anymore.
I totally understand what you're saying, because I don't think anyone passionate about blockchain and working in this industry would go back to traditional industries. Like the change is huge, and the vision is amazing. So, um, but as we all know, there are a lot of barriers for mainstream acceptance in Web3, and I myself know a lot. Like, but in your view, like, what would be the greatest barrier for mainstream adopt?
I think there are several barriers still, because we in the early days, right? So there's of course the regulatory environment that might not be so accepting of new technologies, decentralized technologies, especially. So, especially in a few countries, we see more barriers than others. While actually in some countries, it's pretty well regarded. So, I would say in a few specific countries that we still have the regulatory hurdles that we have to overcome as an industry. I think secondly, and perhaps even more importantly, is user experience, right? So something that Web2 does really well, like they really know how to convert people, to create innovative applications and market them in a good way. So I think we have a lot to learn from Web2 in terms of reaching a broader audience. And at the same time, we have a lot to learn from Web2 in terms of what not to do. Like that's as important as knowing what to do is what not to do. And I think for Web2, definitely this model where very big corporations, big tech, as they say, try to squeeze as much value as they can from people with supposedly free products, right? Not really, because essentially they're taking all the value for themselves in the end. So that I think we have to learn in terms of what not to do. For us in Web3, I think it's also a very different way of doing business. So the approach I think that we have in Web3 has to be different. It has to be bottom up instead of top down. It has to be decentralized. We have to open as much as we can to the community to participate. That's why, since I joined, we've been trying to do more and more things with the community. For instance, we just had this community voting for the new ambassadors program. So that's the sort of thing that I really want to push forward, because we want to hear from the community. We want to decentralize as much as we can the decision making of our protocol, and also empower other protocols to do that. So we have voting solutions. We have solutions that were created by the foundation, but also from ecosystem projects like Wood3, where we did the community voting for the ambassadors program. So we want to decentralize. We want to be inclusive, to have open collaboration and open innovation at the same time. So other companies, universities, developer teams can also create on top of the core technology that is deployed by the foundation, right? So we want the community to have a say and to create and expand the whole ecosystem. So I think also, like, one last issue I think is the tribalism. So, as we in blockchain get too divided, like people are maximalists in terms of one ecosystem over the other. I mean, I'm completely against that. I think we have to work together and create solutions that empower one another. And talking about different ecosystems here, to create new solutions and to bring products to market, bring products that are interesting, that have nice UX, nice user experience. There are, a pleasure to navigate and to use, and have like real use cases, right? So I think if we work together, it will be fantastic. And we are already working with several projects. Even today at that con where you are, Minya, we'll see a super interesting announcement with another extremely relevant and respected protocol. I won't say what that is because I won't steal the thunder, but it's coming up. Stay tuned. Even today, we'll have more information about that. So these types of partnerships are the things that I think move the entire industry and take Web3 to a more massive audience, which I think is exactly what we need.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going back to the conference after this interview.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the big announcement. But yeah, of course, community is important, and that's why we're thinking of all these great initiatives to do with the community. And we have great initiatives coming up, but I can give you more details. But yeah, we have some great things in the pipeline. Um, what I would ask you in terms of our goals as a company, because this is our mission to develop privacy preserving technologies and our customizable confidentiality, which is accessible to anyone. Um, how do you envision all of these things and us as a project shaping the future of Web3?
I think, part of why I joined Oasis is that Oasis is so connected to the mission of blockchain, as a technology. So I think we are a key unifying element of Web3, right? So we can empower multiple use cases across different industries. We can partner with any protocol, certainly with any EVM-based protocol, and maybe even Rust-based protocol. So as we are demonstrating with this announcement later today. So I think we are here really to compound the growth of Web3 by working together with other protocols, with new projects that want to create like native applications that have this smart privacy technology in them. So I think that is essential. There's another point as well, that for blockchain to work, for transactions to be like fully on chain, we need to have this situation where some transactions are made completely public and some are kept confidential. For instance, with DEXs, right? So in order to protect ordinary users of a DEX from MAV, we need certain aspects of the transactions to be kept private. So for the protection of medical records, for digital identities, right? So we have a lot of components that are essential elements of blockchain technology that Oasis can support with, like, that's the smart privacy concept that we introduced, maybe like a month after I joined at HCC in Paris. And it's that idea. It's the same idea as smart contracts, but applied for privacy. So it's programmable. you can customize the outcomes of the contract essentially, and you can say, like, if you want something to be like 100% open, 100% closed, or anywhere in between this spectrum of confidentiality. So that's, I think, an extremely powerful idea that can help builders to build very interesting applications. And we as a foundation need to empower and enable the ecosystem to build these applications.
Um, okay, but overall, uh, and I'm asking this because I want to know your vision for this. Like, what would be the reasons for which privacy is so critical in the success of Web3 in the end?
There's the situation where privacy is a fundamental element of blockchain, right? Without it, you could have, elements of attacks being exploited, right? Because with Mav, these contracts can be seen ahead, and then if they're really fast and really professional in the way that they do, common users will be denying the best options. So more essentially, like the core of it is that privacy is a human right, right? It's a fundamental human right. So while we can improve DeFi, we can improve community voting, for instance, when whales have an extreme power in terms of the voting for a DAO, for instance, because people are seeing, okay, oh, this whale is voting towards this type of proposal, so I'm going to vote with the whale, or maybe it's pointless to vote against the whale, so why even bother? So we want to prevent all those aspects, right? And with smart privacy, with programmable confidentiality, you can do it, right? So that's the whole the whole point. For games, for instance, we can protect the outcome of the game until all cards are shown. For medical records, nobody wants their medical records open on the internet forever. Like, so in order for the records to be on chain, they need to be protected. So the technology that Oasis brings does exactly that. So there's kind of a black box around key aspects, and the builders, the developers, can select exactly which aspects of confidentiality are required for that specific use case. So I think Oasis brings incredible flexibility in terms of the application of privacy, probably never seen before. So to me, is extremely exciting, and I can see, developers like, bustling with ideas, because wow, there's so much potential, there's so much that could be done in terms of applications that it's great. I think this is exactly what we need as an industry, and and we are here, very open to bring millions more users to Web3. I think that's what Web3 needs.
Exactly, and it's funny, honestly, because we've had people approach us at our booth here at DevCon, and everyone asks, because they understand the concept, of course, of customizable privacy and customizing which aspects of the state are public, which are private, but they're asking about use cases, and my answer is always like basically infinite. Every Everything can benefit from privacy.
Yeah.
Um, but enough. Let's stop for a second then. Not talk shop. I'm sure the community would love to get to know you. Like, who is Patrick, and what do you enjoy doing in your free time? What inspires you on a daily basis? Which passions do you have as a human being?
Yeah, I mean, several. Really, I think in the article I mentioned history. Like, I'm a big history nerd, to be honest. Like, and any type of history, like from Bronze Age, like prehistory, like Roman, like anything. Because I think, firstly, it's fascinating, right, to see how our ancestors, were doing things, like the history of the common people of, like, the Roman Empire. Like, it's so fascinating how, so long ago, like thousands of years ago, things were so similar. Things were so similar. You could see like bar stands in Pompeii, and that was like from 79 AD, and they had bars like we do today, this like exactly same way, with food stands on the streets, like same thing. It's incredible, but at the same time, it's so different as well. So to me, it's like endlessly fascinating to see how things were done, like in the Bronze Age, like the beginnings of writing. And to think that, for instance, some of the first pieces of writing, they were writing on tablets made of clay in what is today Iraq or Syria, around that area. And they were like, I remember reading one of these translations where the guy sold some copper to another guy, and then he was complaining that he had to go like through an area that was at war, and then even so, when there was the delivery of this shipping of copper, the copper was not of the right quality, so the buyer was complaining about the lack of quality, that they would never buy again from this buyer. And that's like in a clay disc. It's incredible. And essentially, if you think of blockchain, that was a contract that was broken, right? So if they had smart contracts back then, maybe that thing didn't happen. So to me, it's flabbergasting, really, how these things go. But yeah, I also like have other things that I love, like music, this, and like geography. There's so much stuff.
How can you not? Like, curiosity is what drives us forward.
Exactly,
um,
exactly.
and honestly, I visited Germany before, but it's my first time visiting Berlin, and I was overwhelmed about this whole city and the people that live here. And considering it's a city that's been basically being built from the ground up, because it was after World War II, nothing was left, and
Yeah,
all the museums and all the culture and the Berlin Wall. Like, I didn't have the time to visit as much as I would want, but I'll try before I leave to see some of the museums. But it's overwhelming. Like, the culture here is
yeah.
amazing. I,
And I think
I
it's one of the blockchain capitals of the world, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
Berlin
it is.
has the vibe of blockchain, of decentralization. Like, Berlin is blockchain.
It
It's
is.
it's really
Uh,
fabulous.
I have a bag that says DEPCON on it, and people stop and ask me on the street, like, "Hey, did you go to the conference? Like, we want to go there." And they're not from any project or anything, like just like regular people
Hmm.
who are aware of blockchain. So yeah, the culture is really developed here. It's really amazing, and a lot of developer communities in Berlin as well. It's different from
Yeah,
other cities I visited in Europe. I really love the vibe here, and of course the history and everything. Um, but yeah, I would like to get back on track for a little bit, and we have what now, like 4 months until, not even 4 months. Yeah, we're almost at the half of September. Can you tell our community, like, what can you describe some of the goals that Oasis has managed to achieve so far?
yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, definitely since I joined, but even before I joined, there was so much that has been done. I think for Oasis, really significant product deliveries. So I think Oasis Sapphire is fantastic native product for smart privacy, confidentiality, and for ecosystems to grow. Um, the Oasis Privacy Layer, or OPL, sometimes we see like people pronouncing Opal as well, um, is incredibly flexible. I think if developers already are working in a different ecosystem that is EVM based, of course, but if they have their own ecosystem, they don't want to build natively on Oasis, they can still make use of most of Sapphire's features by integrating an SDK-like technology like OPL. So yeah, to me, these two products are absolutely incredible. We also have products that are very useful for developers, like our native Explorer or our native indexer, that is Nexus. So all of these have been launched like in the last few months, so it's really a lot to be deployed in such a short time. Of course, all these teams have been building since last year, and then you have the delivery in the last few months, but still I think it's astounding. Then we have, I think, other elements I think that have been extremely successful, like the grants program. There has been a significant pickup in terms of the grants program the last few months. Yesterday, we just announced a new DEX, the first DEX on Sapphire, so with map protection for users, which is Illuminex. That's a great team. It's the same team that won a previous hackathon from Oasis, even before my time. So that's fantastic to see these teams, continually building nice applications, and the DEX is fundamental for any ecosystem. So that's fantastic. I think on the partnership side as well, with other protocols. So there will be one being announced later today, but also just the announcement of the seller bridge has been like incredibly important for our ecosystem, because that connects us to EVM-based chains in a very simple way. So that's amazing. And I think things, for instance, like this on-chain voting that we had for the new ambassadors program, this whole idea of having the community being more active, participative, that's what we want to further continue to have. I think later this year and next year, like the more voting that the community does, I think the better. And we have some new projects also with this in mind that will come out either in the last quarter of this year or first quarter of next year. So more news to come. What else? I think in terms of the ecosystem support, we want to be closer to the teams developing on top of Oasis. So we have, of course, the Privacy for L3 hackathon that is happening, and we have just extended because of like so many contributions so far, like more than 800. It's really incredible, the engagement. So we want to do more of that, and we want to support more also the teams that have been building on top of Oasis. Yeah, and by the way, if you have some ideas for the hackathon, please register. It would be great to see them.
Yeah, we've been we extended the deadline, so of course people have more time to join now. But in terms of future expectancies, like what can the our community expect to see in the upcoming month? What would be
Well,
those
I think
highlights?
first and foremost, more community voting, so more engagement, more participation. Also, like the Odyssey program, I think it's a fantastic program. Yeah, that's really great to drive engagement. We'll definitely see more partnerships being announced, because we have been working with several partners in the background, and then as the months progress, then these things will be released publicly, and I can't wait for this because these are extremely interesting. I think we can also see more emphasis on the grants program, because as I was mentioning, we want to support more builders on our ecosystem or projects that connect us to other ecosystems. So we want to see more use cases. We want to see more dApps that are built using either Sapphire or OPL. So the grants program is one of the ways of achieving that. What else? I think on the content side, more technical content. So we have we have been releasing a lot of extremely high quality technical content, video tutorials, recordings from some of the events that we participated, some of the talks there that were fairly technical. So documentation, there's a lot on that front. There is a project that you are leading, Mina, that I'm extremely excited about, that we will soon announce, and it's about education and it's about empowering. So I think this is also extremely interesting, and it will soon come to the community for their participation. And I think also from the foundation side, we have doubled down in terms of our support on Discord, on Telegram. Our social channels are, booming as well. YouTube, like so many videos. So there's a lot on several fronts. And I think that we can have some strategic initiatives that will help with the adoption of Oasis, with more people getting to know about Oasis and more people using, either our wallet, if it's the end user, or developers using either Sapphire or OPL, I think, especially when they're creating their smart privacy solutions.
Yeah, I honestly have people asking me all the time, like, how huge is your team? Like, you guys are putting up content like daily on a daily basis, and I always tell them, like,
Yeah,
we're not huge. Like, we're a pretty big team, but we're dedicated, and people are really working around the clock on all fronts. We have an amazing
yeah,
marketing
yeah,
editorial
that's
team.
true.
I've been pushing out so much quality content, and again, I cannot emphasize this: go to our blog and read the articles. Like, you'll enjoy them, and follow our Twitter, because our Travis is is pushing some nice threads lately. I really love them.
Indeed.
I don't know if we have any questions from the community. Let me please check. I'm having some technical difficulties here. Yeah, we have one question. Do you want to take a question from the community, Patrick?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so one of our users is asking, like, Bitcoin white paper came out in 2008 and Ethereum in 2013. Ever since, we had EVM and smart contracts and dApps. Can we still say adoption is still early? And what will be the top three things we can do to accelerate the adoption? Ah, okay, we have it here
Oh,
on screen.
yeah. No, that's I think, a great question. Thank you, Arnab. Hope that I pronounced your name correctly. Yeah, I still think it's very, very, very early. Like, if you see the adoption curve of Web3, it's actually steeper than the internet, like the original internet adoption curves. But still, it's still extremely early. I mean, we are now in the hundreds of millions of users. The world has 7 billion users potentially. So, we can grow several X, I think, until then. And I think the barriers, I think it's a little bit of what I was discussing, right? So since it's such an early time for the technology, all the regulatory environment that is important for businesses to thrive, right? For businesses to thrive, they need certainty, and they cannot take, too many risks, right? So it's important to have a good, stable, international regulatory environment that supports innovation. So this thing's still being constructed and still being discussed, across different jurisdictions around the world. In some places, it's better; they are more open. In some places, crypto is even banned. So, I think there's still a long way to go in terms of the regulatory environment. Um, the second thing, I would say definitely UX. So creating, the so-called killer app or killer apps, right? Because just one killer app is not enough. You have to have many for an industry to thrive. And I think we're still looking for it. I mean, we've had several waves, right? Since the creation of Bitcoin, you have the financial aspect, you have the smart contract revolution, I think we are also part of this revolution with smart privacy. It's something that wasn't available before, and just just very recently launched and made available for a wider audience. So we'll still see a lot of products being built using all these capabilities, and this whole technological environment grows by the day. It's incredibly fast, like the speed of development that we see across all these ecosystems in blockchain. I think we haven't really seen anything yet, or we'll see much more stuff that we cannot even think about now in 5 years time. So I think it's still extremely early. And lastly, I would say, I would again come back to this situation of us having to work with across different ecosystems, because when we work together we are stronger. Like, I discussed this in the blog article, like how did the Romans conquer Gaul, where today's France? Well, they had all these different tribes fighting one another. So the Romans, oh, you guys come here, let's fight together against that tribe, and then together another tribe against another tribe, and then in the end, the Roman Empire, a very centralized institution, was able to, I think, in about 5 years, conquer the whole of what is today France. At that time, 2070 years ago. So that is crazy. We need to be united. We need to work together, create products together. That's why I think it's so important that we are launching this partnership later today with another extremely respected protocol. And I think for Web3, that's what we need, basically. So I would love to see more and more of these types of partnerships across different ecosystems.
Thank you for taking that question, Patrick, and I would like to really thank you for attending this, agreeing to be the first guest on our new series. Um, are there any ending thoughts from your side?
Oh, I think we covered a lot of ground today. I mean, it has been a pleasure. I look forward to, continuing this conversation and hearing back from you guys, like from the community. Speak up. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you need, and participate. Vote when we have this voting opportunities, and build. We need more teams to build. We need more teams to join the hackathon, and apply for the grants program. Apply, to receive funding from us or from some of our partners. I have like $200 million program that teams can apply. So please do apply, do participate, speak up, and we'll do our best to support. That's absolutely what we can do: support the ecosystem, support all these teams that are building on top of Oasis, the teams that are partnering with Oasis. So we'll definitely continue to do that, and I can see definitely a very bright future for Web3 and for Oasis. I mean, in spite of crypto winters or anything like that, we are still building, and we'll keep on building. So count on us, to deliver on that promise.
Exactly. The bear market is only apparent. We keep building and educating our community, and we really care about the community. Like that's our biggest point now. We really want to support everyone, and the hackathon. That's why we extended the hackathon, because I know we had a lot of community members who weren't able to join in time. So, as we said previously, the deadline has been extended to October 4th. So, please submit your entries by then. And we do have a lot of good entries, as we know, Patrick. Like I think we have over 900 participants, 920 by now. So, really great numbers. Um, and I don't know if you guys watched the live stream yesterday, but Harry Roberts, who we all love, he's a brilliant guy, and he's a natural at these workshops. He gave a very interesting workshop yesterday at DevCon. So I don't know. We'll probably upload it soon, like today or tomorrow, right? So I suggest for you guys to watch it if you haven't watched the live stream yesterday. It's a really interesting discussion. Uh, Harry got a big round of applause from the audience, and the room was packed. Like everyone attended his workshop. It was really amazing. Um, and of course, something we've been brewing up for a couple of months now, because we basically dissected this on every on every side, the ambassador program, and I know you've been all waiting for this. On Thursday we're gonna have the launch party, and I promise I'll have some really nice guests invited, some of our former ambassadors, some of our team members who are ambassadors. So it will be a very fun discussion, and we'll talk about our journey here and a lot of cool things. So make sure you attend our Oasis Sentinels launch party on Thursday. It's gonna be great. Um, I hope I get a little bit. I think I'm catching a cold in Berlin. Like it's crazy. It's super hot during the day and really cold during the night. So we're all kind of feeling it. But yeah, will be great. Once again, thank you, Patrick, so much for joining. And this has been a great, really great interview, and I think very eye-opening for our community members. You can expect more of these types of interviews to arrive soon, because we want you guys to meet our whole team and see who's behind the scenes. And I'm guess you're tired by me by now from all the calls. I want you guys to meet the rest of the team as well. Yeah, as always, I'm Ihna, your host, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.